Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am, of course, Mr. Warren Hayes, back in more familiar digs tonight for this Raw recap show, for the May 13, 2019 edition of Raw. Something a little more familiar. It sort of feels like, oh, look, the Warren board is back. The Warren board has returned. It's back. And it's now a part of our lives once again. You know, because I had some people reach out to me and like, Warren, where were you? Where were you last week? You know, what space were you occupying? What was going on, Warren? And you know what? I'm going to tell you one thing. Keep one thing in mind. It doesn't matter where I am, because I am always with you. That's right. We're going to be, now that that's out of the way, we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw tonight. We're going to be talking about everything that happened tonight. And we are going to be doing it here live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. This is where the magic happens every Monday night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand at whatever moment is more efficient for you. But if you're watching this live, you don't know what you're missing out on. You really don't know what you're missing out on, because we have a bunch of fantastic folks hanging out here in the Warren Hayes chat. We have, of course, the unsung goddess of the internet, Kristen Ashley, who's with us. We have Metal 2006. Mr. Fretz is here as well. Maven Glean Blaine, the world's most handsome mod, is here as well. CM Phil, how you doing? We've got Mike Baker as well, and Anthony from Smart to Death is here. A whole bunch of well-wishers and friends of the show who are here. An awesome place to come chat about Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or whatever I decide to do. People are cool, people are friendly, and we talk about stuff. Brian Payne, how you doing? Welcome to the show. So thank you all for being here live. And like I said, if you're not watching this live, that's fantastic. If you are watching live, please do consider giving the video a thumbs up. Please consider sharing it. Let's get more people in here watching, more eyeballs on the product, please. But yeah, no, the likes thing, that always helps out. And if you're listening, perhaps you're listening, perhaps you're not even watching this, perhaps you're listening to this on your favorite podcasting application. Not podcasting, podcast application. Because the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is available also in podcast format. And you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Himalaya, Podcoin, Castbox. It's everywhere. You just type in to the chat. Not the chat, sorry. To your search box. Mr. Warren Hayes, and it'll pop up there. Subscribe, like, leave a review, do whatever needs to be done to show some appreciation there. That also helps a ton, an absolute ton as well. So I'm very thirsty tonight, by the way. I'm already taking some sips out of my water, but that's because I'm very thirsty. I'm a thirsty lad. This evening, I'm going to need a few drinks, a few water. I don't know why, man. It's like really hot. I don't know why. Yeah, maybe I'm just not ready for the warm season just yet. That's entirely possible. That's something that could explain why I'm a little parched. Could be. Maybe it's also because I'm looking forward to doing my SmackDown recap, which is tomorrow evening at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, live right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Hopefully I'll see you guys here. Wednesday night will be my typical, usual, fantastical 205 Live NXT UK recap show over on Fightful Select, the premium service of Fightful.com. Of course, Fightful, you get all your combat sports news there, including wrestling, all nice and packaged, all neat and proper for you at FightfulWrestling.com. But then if you want extra content, you want to hear more people talk about wrestling, you want to get you exclusive scoops, you want more podcasts, you want Q&A sessions, well, you sign up to Fightful Select. It's a great way to support Fightful. Plus, you get all this great stuff. You get my podcast. You get retro pay-per-view reviews that I do with Sean Ross Sapp as well. You also have Steven Jensen, who covers all non-WWE programming every week with The Weekender. You have Sean, who does the Fightful Report every Wednesday. That'll break up a pitch. Every Wednesday, you have Sean, who does who recaps news and drives in a couple of little scoopsies in there as well. Check that out. That's another. If you're not a subscriber, I mean, honestly, why? I don't know why you're not at this point. Thursday, be sure to come back right here to youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, because I will be joined by the lovely Kristen Ashley, and we are going to be talking about Money in the Bank. It's going to be my prediction show, since Money in the Bank is this weekend. So be sure to pop back here Thursday evening. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a lot of predicting, a lot of speculating. She's a fantastic person. She's got a great mind for this stuff. And she will definitely surprise us with some of her contributions during the show. No absolute doubt there. Then I've lost my train of thought. Of course, speaking of Kristen, she's also launched her brand new website called Bell to Bells. The link appears in the little scrolling images right. This is hard. There you go. Right there. That's belltobells.com. BELL. Why is this not on mute? BELLTOBELLES.com. Exclusive women's coverage. That's women's wrestling coverage, I should say. And that there's already a ton of fantastic articles that are up there. There's a whole crew of amazing writers who are contributing there. Some friends of the show like Anthony Suter from Smart to Death, JPQ as well, Jonathan Pilquist. He also contributes there. We also have Harmony Cox, who writes stuff there. You have Jam as well, who writes art. Look, I suggest you go take a look. You read some of the fantastic articles that are there. It's already booming, and you can follow on Twitter on Twitter as well at Bell to Bells. So that's a fantastic move if you do that, because then you get all the articles immediately as they're posted right there. So go check that out as well. And one thing that I didn't have the opportunity, and we're gonna go back in time a little bit here, but one thing that I didn't have the opportunity to tell you folks about last week was that I was invited onto a podcast called Why We Watch. You can go check that out. Find it on Twitter. The Why We Watch podcast. It's Darren Kirkby, who is also a friend of the show. He basically interviews members, I guess, of the online wrestling community, and basically, asks some questions, interviews us, and tries to find why we got into wrestling in the first place, why we enjoy it so much, why it's good, why we decided to do what we do then and start podcasting and sharing our passion online like this. And I was the episode aired last Wednesday, which is why I haven't had a chance to talk about it on stream. So I suggest you go check that out. We talked about, who are we kidding? I talked about an hour, and it's a fantastic podcast. Darren is a fantastic guy. He's a stand-up dude who does great work, and it was a pleasure for me to be on the show. I was thrilled to be invited, and I think we had a nice time. I think we had a fantastic show. Go check it out. It's called Why We Watch Podcast. Go check it out on Twitter. Find the handle. All right, let's start talking about Raw, because I feel like I'm getting distracted right and left with all these things that I have to plug. But do come back on Thursday, right? Come back tomorrow, but then come back on Thursday as well. We're gonna have a good time. So Monday Night Raw, it was taped. I stayed away from spoilers. I can manage pretty well. I'm able to handle the keywords pretty well when it comes to Twitter, or muting keywords and stuff like that. So I was able to steer away from that and stay fresh. A whole surprise of things happening throughout the evening here on Raw. So let's go right ahead. Let's jump right in. London, England, in the UK here. Yeah. Let's go ahead and well, wait a minute. This thing just crashed here. Hang on a second. We're going to refresh this. There we go. There you go. I want my little sidebar to be animated and fun. Don't we all? We all want things to be animated and fun. Fix your shit, Warren. So the show starts with The Miz coming out for an edition of Miz TV. He basically puts over the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then he reminds us of the wild card rule, which is now it's 4 people, right? He said it himself. It's 4 wild cards who can switch between Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis, and vice versa. Whatever. It was 3 last week, then Vince sort of set this all up on the fly. I don't know. But here, he says he's inviting one of the 4 wild cards to his show, and that one wild card is Le Grand Chien, Roman Reigns. Did you guys notice that there was a bit of a mixed reaction for Roman in the crowd? I did. Roman comes to the ring. He starts talking about Elias. The crowd immediately starts singing "Go Walk with Elias" in the 7 Nation Army way, method, style, signature, whatever you want to call it. It's actually interesting, Well, then again, it's the London crowd. It's a little different, but I don't want to go back on this, but I spoke about it last week on one of my streams, and I really do feel like WWE is doing the exact same mistakes that they previously did with Roman, and they're screwing it up, baby. I really think that they're messing up with him once again. Overexposing him, giving him too much importance, putting him in feuds that we all know he's going to win, and just booking him in ways that aren't natural for him. So the audience is already starting to resent him. Anyway. The Miz starts talking about how he and Roman should hang out together more, because he's an A-lister and he's been in movies and stuff like that. And now Roman's going to be in a movie, and that kind of pisses off Roman, who says, this is not the Miz that I have come to hang out with. All right, I came to hang out with the guy who chased down Shane McMahon throughout an arena last week. This is the guy that I came to see, and not this dude here. Miz says that he sort of acquiesces. He says, I think I've started to earn my respect here after 13 years in the business, but Shane McMahon, he never earned it. The son of a bitch. He was born into it, right? But then, so that, of course, allows Shane McMahon to come out. And at this point, I was like, oh, well, all right, it's an interview segment to start Raw, but at least, we don't have a McMahon hanging around. Well, wishful thinking. Hey, you know what? We would not want a McMahon on the opening segment, right? We wouldn't want to mess with the formula too much. Let's not mix things up a little too much. Let's not get crazy here. Starting a segment, start a show without a McMahon. Whoa, wait a minute. Calm down. So we got Shane, who basically distracted Miz and Roman long enough to be blindsided by Bobby Lashley and Elias, who attacked them from the audience. And this, of course, will set up a match. Miz and Roman Reigns versus Elias and Bobby Lashley. Elias early on gets in control of the Miz, but Miz fights back with some knees. Backbreaker followed by his neckbreaker combo. Covers Elias, but only gets 2. Roman gets tagged in, and immediately Elias sort of cowers out of the ring. Rolls out and stalls a bit. He gets back in, but only to tag Bobby Lashley in. Lashley leapfrogs over Roman, shoulder tackles Reigns down, covers him, but only gets 2. Roman then proceeds to drive his shoulder into Bobby Lashley into the corner a few times, but then he eats an elbow. Lashley comes back in, but eats a Samoan drop, gets covered, but only gets 2. Some double team corner strikes by the baby faces. They're able to subdue Elias at the same time, and the Miz hits his it kicks. Yes, kicks, the it kicks on both Elias and Bobby Lashley. But at last, so he delivers a final blow to Elias, but the final blow on Lashley is caught. And Elias distracts Miz, and that allows Lashley to hit a flatliner for 2. Back from commercial, Elias is working over Miz, and Shane then gets involved in the match. He starts doing his own little McMahon-y shenanigans. Elias does an old school rope walk that ends with a Meteora, covers, but Roman Reigns breaks up the pin. Lashley hits his stalling vertical suplex, covers Miz again, only gets 2. The hot tag is prevented because they do the spot again. The spot where the heel has like the babyface. He has him in a carry, and the babyface has his arms stretched out and is like, I'm about to reach you, buddy, partner. But this guy's holding me back. Oh, no. And honestly, I'm done with that spot. Like, right now, we've seen it way too much. Take it off of TV for 6 to 8 months, then bring it back. Honestly, I'm done with it. Anyway, the match comes to an end when Shane yanks Roman Reigns off the apron. Referee calls for the bell, and then they all beat down on Miz. The heels do. Elias, Bobby, Shane. They all beat down on the Miz until Roman hits a fucking awesome dive onto everyone. That was, the camera angle contributed to my appreciation of what he did, for sure. But man, that was both frightening and beautiful. That was something. He hits his dive on everyone, but it turns out that it's Shane who takes Roman out. With those stiff working punches of his. Oh boy. Anyway, this whole schmoz comes to an end when Miz runs in with a chair. There's Superman punches that happen, and Shane flees up the apron, not the apron, but the ramp. Yeah, this was not a super good opening segment. Like first half hour or so, 35 minutes. Blech. I didn't care for it. Didn't like how it opened. Don't like the angle. Didn't care for the match. It didn't feel important. Didn't feel like it contributed anything. It was just like, let's get people into a match here. Didn't care for it. Really didn't care for it. We get a really long recap of Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. Then we get a recap of Braun Strowman murdering Sami Zayn. Can you believe that? We got a recap of that. I guess, but we all know, listen, Sami showed up on SmackDown to alleviate all our fears. He's not dead. But Braun is caught backstage for an interview, and he says the only thing that he regrets was that the compactor, the trash compactor in the garbage truck, didn't turn Sami Zayn into a cube. So basically, what he's saying, what Braun Strowman is saying, is that he's disappointed that Sami Zayn's not dead. He's essentially telling us that this was premeditated murder that he had on the brain last week, and his plan failed, and now he's like, gosh darn it, I'm going to have to do it again. Because that son bitch's not dead. I'm telling you. They're playing with my morals. They're playing with my morals here, chat. Holy hell. Sami basically blames the fans. Why would you? What's a feign? Can anyone check that out, chat? Feign? Let's check that out. Find me the definition of a feign and see if we could blame a feign for this. But Sami basically somewhere else in the arena. He's talking with Shane, and he's blaming the fans, right, for creating Braun Strowman, for creating the monster that is Braun Strowman. But then Braun walks in, and Sami says that he's going to take you, Braun. He's going to take you out of Money in the Bank. Shane is right there, by the way. I forgot to mention, Shane is there. They're like in Shane's office, right? So Sami says, I can take you out of Money in the Bank. I deserve the spot. I'll take you out. So Shane makes this match a Falls Count Anywhere. The winner gets the spot at Money in the Bank. Now, wasn't it last year, ladies and gentlemen, that Sami Zayn and Shane McMahon, they didn't like each other? Wasn't Shane trying to get Sami fired from SmackDown Live? Wasn't Sami calling him a hypocrite? I mean, it was very, and here they are, they're being all chummy nice with each other, it's like pats on the back. I remember when Sami and Kevin went to Raw, they were like, finally, we're done with the tyranny of Shane McMahon, and now Sami, and he had this, didn't he go, he went on this trip of enlightenment, wouldn't he? I don't know. We've got some definitions for feign here coming in the chat. Anthony from Smart to Death says that a feign is a temple or a shrine. Okay. Oh, okay. Kristen Ash says feign, pleased or willing under the circumstances. All right. And Anthony tells me to fix my accent. Well, go fix your face. How about that, Anthony? Go fix your face. Mike Baker says, surely you are not expecting continuity with WWE. Here's the thing. And you're right, Mike. Because I'm like, well, why should I expect this? Because they're not known to, for doing things that make sense and have that follow through on things. Sure. But Mike, buddy, I hold WWE to a higher standard. I really do. And I'm okay with calling them out when they do this kind of stuff, because I think it's important that we're all aware that they do this. Because eventually, especially if they start wanting to get Emmys, right? They are going to have to put a little more effort They are going to have to try and fix this part, you know, kind of like Anthony Suter has to try and fix his face. WWE is going to have to try and fix the way that they handle their storytelling. You know, even, you know, at some point, I would even be okay if they just flat out said, you know, we're resetting everything. You know, kind of like what DC and Marvel Comics do once in a while, you know, where they just retcon the entire universe, you know, and just start from scratch. And it's like, okay, we're doing something, you know. So, I don't know. Look, I hold WWE up to a higher standard because they're the mainstream. They're the major leagues. They should be acting like major league players. Anywho, Apollo Crews is apparently one of the wild cards tonight, and he came over to fight Darth Raleigh, or I don't know. Chat, let me know. Hi, Carlos, by the way, in the chat. Guys, find us. What's a good name for Mojo? He can't just be Mojo Riley. He's on the dark side of the hype now. Find us a good name for Mojo, chat. So basically, look, Apollo's in control early on, but he does some cartwheels and he tweaks his knee. I still hate that spot. And Mojo wins. Good for Mojo. Good for Mojo. Someone should tell him that his raincoat isn't very effective. You know. Carlos says we should call him Glacier 2. J.S. Brown says we should call him Broken Mojo. CM Phil says, why was Mojo wearing a trash bag? See, it's not very good. Sub-Zero Jr. says Blaine. Mike Baker says, let's call him Darth Shatter McBlueface. I kind of like that. All right. Next, we have Alexa Bliss, who's backstage. She's on the phone. Poor Alexa. She's still having issues with her. She's still having issues with her wardrobe. She's on the phone and she lost her luggage. Poor dear. The poor dear. And so she doesn't have her gear. She's not really ready to compete. But Nikki Cross is kind of standing there and she's very level-headed and anchored. And I don't understand why. She's sort of like, you know, I've been here for 4 weeks and I feel like no one's noticed me. And then Alexa, being the predator that she is, obviously sees this woman in a moment of vulnerability, and is like, okay, I'm jumping on this, you know. It's like, and she, you know, she says, well, here, why don't you talk to me? But then she starts talking, and Nikki's like, no, you go ahead, I'll listen. I'm a good ear. I'm like, my God, what? No. Nikki Cross is she's not a supportive friend. She's nuts. She's an agent of chaos. She's cuckoo crazy. What the hell are they doing? I understand why they set it up. It's because it's so Alexa could get out of the fatal four-way that they were having with the women later on in the evening, and basically tricking Nikki Cross into taking her place. I understand why, but why? This is not Nikki Cross. I don't understand what they're doing here. I really and honestly don't. That just boggles my mind. I mean, and she's anchored. She seems very perturbed, a little lost. Everything seems artificial, like the lines, the way she's delivering them. Like, honestly, what the fuck? And then when we see her later in the match, well, then she's Nikki Cross. I don't know what we saw talking with Alexa Bliss. And I don't know what made her snap, or I felt we just saw two different people, and one of these two people needed to get off her meds, if you know what I mean. I don't want to be I'm not saying, look, if you've been prescribed medication, be sure to take it. It's important. But, you know what I mean? It's like, it's as if her whole personality was just dragged down to some basic level that didn't make sense. I don't know what they're doing with Nikki Cross right now. This was stupid. Again, I understand the angle, and I dug the angle. I thought it was fun. But it's the way they could have just had crazy ass Nikki being all confused, and then she would have jumped right into helping Alexa nonetheless. She didn't have to be like, It's funny. It's just funny sometimes how you have like these sure things. Anyway. No, this is not what Ringside News is going to report. They will not be reporting Fightful contributor WarrenHayes, unlike what Kristen Ashley is suggesting. I am not being not contribute. It will not be Fightful contributor WarrenHayes says women should get off their meds because they're more fun that way. No, that's not what I said at all. I'm just making a comparison. Bob Aruski's in the chat. How you doing, Bob? Good to see you. All right, so next we have the contract signing. Now, I don't like contract signings. I really don't. I think it's lazy creative. Like, it's the laziest thing, honestly, that you could possibly do, because it's always the same thing. It's like, let's go sit around a table. Let's get some desk chairs. Let's sign some paperwork. This is something that is gross and disgusting. No, it's maybe not gross and disgusting, but it's boring. It's boring because it always ends up the same way. And I was goofing on this on Twitter earlier today, but man, let me tell you guys. Listen, let me tell you guys. No one remembers contract signings. They just don't. You don't sit around saying to yourself, you don't sit around going, yeah, you remember that great, fantastic contract signing that Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair had at the Cow Palace in 1989. That was fantastic. No one, because that never happened. And there's got to be ways to put people in the ring at the same time, other than let's sit around and everyone have a microphone and everyone gets their turn and then we all start fighting each other at the end. It's a tired, exhausted trope. And as much as I enjoyed Becky during this, because she's good at the banter and the facial expressions that she had when Lacey Evans was talking about her swinging something she doesn't have were priceless. And as much as Charlotte is fantastic as a heel and how everyone did their parts really well, I was like, can we? It wasn't even the worst contract signing I've ever seen. It wasn't even that bad because you had really talented women, and Lacey Evans, she was really good. Like, she really held her own in this environment with these two women who can work microphones like it's nobody's business. I just can't get behind contract signings. They should disappear for the longest amount of time. They should They should go with they should leave with the babyface tag spot. The hot tag spot that the heels prevent the babyfaces from doing that. I was talking about earlier. Take those two things away for a long time. Make us miss them. Anyway, look, this all comes to, like I said, the women were fine. They all did their jobs really, really well. Becky's facial expressions were really, really great. You know, Charlotte is perfect as a heel. Lacey Evans is really, I was surprised at how well she carried herself here and how she felt like she belonged there. There's nothing bad per se in the performances. The beatdown after was okay. They put Becky through a table and they both held the titles. Oh, and I liked how when Becky arrived, she took the time, to place the SmackDown title in front of Charlotte and place the Raw title in front of Lacey. I thought nice touches, but it was still a bloody contract signing. So basically, Becky Lynch got double powerbombed or double team powerbombed through a table. What are we talking about here in the chat? Maven says, I call this segment When Blondes Attack. Kristen Ashley says, I literally said that last night. You're welcome. Are you trying to insinuate that I stole something from you in a conversation we had last evening, Kristen? Please do illuminate me. Sports and Things. Carlos says, great job, Kristen. You got cup stuck in my head. Thanks. CM Phil says this was boring. Mike Baker says Charlotte and great value, Charlotte. Mike, you're making me versus Becky Two Belts. Great value, Charlotte. In my notes I wrote Charlotte and other Charlotte. And Carlos obviously has been, he hangs around here. He knows what. He says ban contract signings and chin locks. He knows what I like. He knows what I don't like either. All right. Next, we had a match. Baron Corbin versus Ricochet. You know what, guys? I like this match. I thought this was fun. I thought it was a fun, fast-paced match. Ricochet drop kicks Baron Corbin and avoids his offense until Corbin fights back. Ricochet avoids the boss man spot, but and avoids a whole bunch of offense. He hits a crossbody. Out on the floor goes Corbin, and Ricochet hits his parkour moonsault off the post onto the floor. They get back into the ring, and Corbin lariats the hell out of Ricochet, turns him inside out. Back from commercial, Ricochet does a handspring move, but Corbin catches him, and he gets slammed down to the mat, covers Ricochet, but only gets 2. Corbin has slowed the match down quite a bit, which is normal because he's a heel. But the whole first segment of the match, where Ricochet was really in control and being evasive, the pacing was really, really quick, and Corbin really shone through here. He really worked a fantastic pace. Let's keep going. Ricochet eventually does start avoiding some of Corbin's offense. He delivers a European uppercut, a boot, and the rolling dropkick follows. Slingshot lariat takes Corbin down for 2, but Corbin fights back and hits a deep 6 on Ricochet, who covers him for 2.9. Ricochet hits a DDT on Corbin, covers him for 2. There's some top rope shenanigans that follow that end with a top rope Frankensteiner, followed by the running shooting star press by Ricochet, who covers Corbin for 2. But Corbin gets the end of days on Ricochet, clean as a whistle. Corbin grabs and he pins Ricochet for the win. After the match, he grabs a ladder, to go and to climb up and get the briefcase, just to make sure that everyone understands how Money in the Bank matches work, right? That's important. And as he's about to grab the briefcase, well, guess what happens? Ricochet pushes him. Pushes the ladder. This honestly, I thought it was a fun match. I really thought it was a fun match. And Corbin worked a fantastic pace. I'm going to go as far as to say, now you ready for this? Give these guys a program. This was fun. And let these guys go to the maximum. Like, I felt that this match was ready to go for a good 15 minutes, the way they were building it. And I'd be down for it. Look, if they work as well as they do right here, you would have, imagine Baron Corbin right now is legitimately hated. Like, people really don't like him. He's a fantastic heel. People do not like the guy. You want to elevate a babyface? Have him go against the guy you hate the most. Have him beat him. You're going to have yourself a superstar in no time. I really dug this. I thought it was a fun match. Good for them. And it's good sometimes that Baron Corbin just has these moments where it's like, you put him up against someone who's not a big meaty meathead like Bobby Lashley or Drew or, Roman. Like a Clash of Styles situation. And boy, it's fantastic. It's really, really fantastic. I really like this match. Maven Glean says, good match. Just hate Corbin so. Mike Baker says, this burns my soul, but Corbin was outstanding. He had a great partner. Babaruski says, type of fast match is what Corbin needs. CM Phil says that Deep Six looked fantastic. And Kristen Ashley says, it's the vest. Oh, yeah. I still don't know why he wears that attire. Ever since he stopped being assistant GM, I don't get it. But it's fine. We get a recap of Samoan Joseph threatening Dominic last week. Then Mysterio backstage says that Joe crossed the line. And if Joe or anyone else has something to say to him, they should just say it to his face. Come find me and say it to my face. And guess who does? Comes in and say it to his face. It's Cesaro. And he says, you know what? You're like 5'0" nothing, and your son is like 6'1". And when you look at him, he kind of looks more like Samoa Joe. Are you sure that he's not that he's your kid? Of course. Oh, blind with rage. Rey Mysterio is like, no, not this shit again. Not more of this. I'm your poppy bullshit. I've been through this once before, you Swiss son of a bitch. I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly, that's not exactly what he said, but those would have been some good lines. So that'll set up a match for a little later on. We get the Roman Reigns recap again. And I'm going to I'm going to say this again, but I'm not going to rant. Promise. Roman hasn't been gone all that long. And we understand what his career is. Don't worry, because you haven't let us forget about it. WWE. I don't feel like these career recaps are necessary in Roman's case. And I can't help but feel if WWE did these recaps, these get to know me segments for other wrestlers, it'd probably be a little more beneficial. Probably help put over some other wrestlers who could definitely need like this little insight into who they are and what they fight for. Imagine giving Ruby Riott one of those. or Cesaro for that matter. Cesaro has a storied career. Why not just rewind that? Anywho. We get AJ Styles, who's backstage cutting a very nothing promo, but where he says he's going to walk out of Money in the Bank as the new Universal Champion. So that's got to be something. Next, we have Naomi versus Dana Brooke versus Natalya versus Nikki Cross. This was another match I liked. Alexa Bliss comes out and joins commentary because she doesn't have her gear. So she's not wrestling. Nikki Cross is her substitute, her proxy. Naomi splashes Nikki early on, and Natalya goes after Dana, who dodges. Natalya takes a whole bunch of people out. The action is pretty fast and furious to begin with, straight out of the gate. Naomi gets Dana into a half Nelson and does her sit out. It's like an atomic drop, but you don't. I guess it's a sit out atomic drop, half Nelson sit out atomic drop, which is really cool. And as both women are sitting on the ground and Naomi is still holding the pose, Natalya does her step over thing where she steps over someone's back. So she steps over both Naomi and Dana, and as she runs back from with the ropes, Nikki trips her up. Dana drop kicks to the outside, so Naomi is alone in the ring. She's like, what the fuck? Why am I not out there? So she does a corkscrew pescado onto everyone on the outside. I was really liking the pace so far. It was a lot of fun. Back from commercial, Dana fails her somersault hip attack because she eats an elbow to the back, courtesy of Natalya Neidhart. Natalya sets Dana up then for a nice surfboard. That's a nice surfboard, boys and girls. If you ever want to learn how to do one, you should check that out. But at the same time, don't do that at home. I want to say hello to Chris Spizak, who's found time in his busy schedule to come say hello. I want to talk. Nice to see you, Chris. So the surfboard is set up. Nikki Cross starts climbing up onto the top rope, but Naomi shoves her off, and then she comes in and she takes out Dana and Natalya from the surfboard position, covers Natalya, but Nikki Cross breaks the pin up. Alexa Bliss here, she has a fantastic line where she says, I'm just as athletic as Naomi if I have the right attire. There's not many women on main roster who understand her character as well as Alexa Bliss does. She's gold, absolute gold. There's a double flapjack on Naomi that ensues. Nikki Cross takes out Natalya and Dana with her running forearms, covers Naomi for 2. Cross gets Naomi into a nice, and I can't remember the name of the move, but into a nice submission where she has both arms bent back into like a sort of a cross face. If anyone in the chat knows what I'm talking about, it was a fantastic submission move that was really well applied, looked really painful. But basically, Naomi, to get out of it, has to get Nikki Cross into a pinning combination to break the hold. Hip attacks by Naomi follows. She slams Dana on the mat. She slams Dana onto Natalya and then hits the split-legged moonsault. She goes for both women, but Dana rolls out of the way, so the moonsault lands on Natalya. She covers Natalya, but Dana breaks the pin up. Then Dana goes for a ladder. Dana Brooke goes for a ladder. Natalya clobbers Dana as the ladder's been set up. Nikki spears Natalya to the floor. And they're all brawling, all three of them. Natalya, Nikki, Naomi, the three ends. They're all brawling on the floor. Meanwhile, Dana is climbing to the top of the ladder, and it's one of the taller ladders. I don't know, I'm not an expert on ladder height, but I'd say, 10 feet? 12 feet? And here's what she does. She body presses herself, flying body, crossbody, I should say, off the top of the ladder onto everyone on the floor. And I'm like, fantastic shit. That's good shit. And Natalya crushes Dana against the barricade. She lariats Naomi. She tries to get back into the ring, but Nikki Cross is there, and she hits her draping, spinning neck breaker, covers Natalya, and she wins. And I'm like, what? What? How did she win? Because she's not even in the match. It's fantastic. I mean, but then it allows for Alexa Bliss to come to the ring and then to celebrate with Nikki, but then climb at the top of the ladder to go and get the briefcase. And I like the moment where she sets the ladder up with Nikki. They do it both together. They set the ladder up under the briefcase. But not Natalya, but Nikki starts to go up, and Alexa's like, no. I'm gonna go get it. And she climbs up, and Nikki's really happy for her. It's like, I won. I did this. But Alexa's at the top with the briefcase. It's fantastic. I thought that was really, really good stuff. This was a fantastic match. Everyone was on point. Natalya, solid as usual. Naomi was motivated. She was into it. She was hitting all the notes, all the right notes. Her corkscrew pescado, it had me popping. I was thrilled to see that. Dana Brooke, dare I say, chat, press F if you agree. Press F if you feel that this was Dana Brooke's best match on main roster to date. Because I kind of feel it was. And I mean, she's ready to go. I mean, if she has her spot, if she wants to start diving off of ladders onto people, that is amazing. And then we have Nikki Cross being added in here, who was back in full-blown nutty mood. I mean, man, that was some good stuff. Chat is, we've got F's everywhere. We've got F's everywhere. Bubba Ruski says that camera angle screwed that spot for me. Damn, Kevin Dunn. What spot are we talking? Was it the dive? Yeah, because the dive wasn't the dive off the ladder, I think, is what you're talking about. And yeah, it wasn't exactly glory. It didn't capture the entire moment in all its glory. Let's put it that way. Carlos says Bailey or Ember need Money in the Bank. I have a tendency to agree with that. Blaine says that this was some good shit, pal. And he also says Ms. Mandy in the Bank. That's all I'm going to say. Bob Ruski asks, does Nikki know what a Money in the Bank match is? That's right. That's right. Sami Zayn cuts a promo about social media being toxic or something. Something. But he does say something. He does say a line. He does say a very important line, because he's talking about how everyone on social media is saying that, you know, there's no way he's going to be able to beat Braun Strowman, right? Because he can't beat Braun. He says something, a nugget of wisdom that I'm going to carry with me. Sami Zayn says, being right is more important than being strong. And that, folks, that might actually be my new mantra. When I wake up in the morning, you know, go to the bathroom, shake the cobwebs out of my head, and you know what I do? I sit down in a nice quiet spot, and I do some mindfulness. And part of the techniques of mindfulness to make sure that you stay focused on your breathing and that you don't let your mind wander is to have something that you can connect with. Just something in your mind that you can always return to, and this is what it'll be. Being right is more important than being strong. All right, next we have Rey Mysterio versus Cesaro, and again, a fun match. And this was actually more than fun. This was really good. The match starts off and Cesaro flapjacks Rey, but Rey drop kicks Cesaro's leg. Cesaro then does a pop up on Rey, who flips, who basically leaps over Cesaro, lands on the second turnbuckle, and does a springboard spinning Hurricane Rana on Cesaro. That was nuts. Cesaro then afterwards hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on Rey, covers him, but only gets 2. Rey is up on an electric chair position on Cesaro's shoulders. Rey tries to dump Cesaro on the outside while he's on his shoulders, but they both tumble over, and he stays on Cesaro's shoulders. And I'm like, holy shit! Okay, I think we're in for something special here, and we kind of were. Rey counters out of the predicament by basically flipping Cesaro into the barricade. He runs back into the ring and does his boogie board dive under the ropes, but Cesaro then grabs Rey and puts him in his big swing position and swings him not once but twice against the barricades. And the way he just releases him afterwards is like a sack of potatoes. It was like, wow. It just looked really, really brutal. We're on the apron now. Cesaro has Rey Mysterio up in a suplex position. And you know how sometimes, you'll have guys, one's on the apron, one's on the inside, and the guy on the outside on the apron will tease, to suplexing the guy to take him all the way to the floor. And it's not going to happen because it's too fucking dangerous. But they tease it, right? And they tease it. It's like, oh, I tried to lift you. Oh, I tried to lift you. It doesn't work. But here Cesaro actually lifts Rey into a full suplex, into a full vertical lift. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. He is not actually going to do this, is he? But I believed it. He didn't do it, thank God. But I thought he was going to do it, and that scared the shit out of me. So there wasn't any of these. So there wasn't the suplex. There wasn't no suplex to the floor, but they battle on the apron a little bit, and Cesaro eventually posts himself. However, we get back into the ring. There's some more fighting, and Cesaro, instead of the suplex to the outside, does something equally impressive. He does a stalling superplex. A stalling superplex. Lifts Rey up, and then releases one arm. So he's just holding Rey with one arm, and he falls back with one arm free. That's some good shit, pal. My God. That was outstanding. Back from commercial, the big spin is countered by Rey crunching up. Like Cesaro has him by the legs in the big spin position, and Rey crunches up to grab his head and DDT him. That, again, is some good shit, pal. Seated senton follows. Crucifix pin covers Cesaro for 2. The 619 is countered, but then the big spin happens. European uppercuts by Cesaro on Rey happen, and Rey falls against the ropes in the 619 position, and Cesaro sort of looks around. He's like, am I going to do this? And he sort of shrugs and goes, sure. He goes to do it, but Mysterio avoids, and Cesaro gets all tangled up in the ropes. It's a mess. But what is not a mess is the sunset powerbomb by Rey Mysterio that follows, that covers Cesaro for 2. Rey then goes up top. He dives off and eats a European uppercut in midair. He gets covered by Cesaro, but Rey kicks out at 2.9. The neuralizer is countered. There's a Hurricane Rana that follows. Cesaro ends up against the ropes for the 619. And the Eddie Guerrero frog splash follows for the win. Whew. This was good. This was good. This was a good TV match. Cesaro is still criminally underappreciated. Rey still continues to boggle my mind with the shit he does, with the career he's had, and the age that he now is at. It just burns up a hole through my mind. Here are two more guys that I wish they had a program going. That was fantastic stuff. Wouldn't you agree, chat? Blaine says Cesaro and Mysterio was good shit, pal. Anthony says, yeah, that match was dope. Cesaro is a big, strong boy. That is correct. Metal 2006 says Cesaro is the mayor of Slamtown. Kristen Ashley says he's 6'5". And Blaine says Cesaro for Universal Champion in 2008 and 2019. It's cute to have dreams, Blaine. Cute. The Revival have a promo where they recap the embarrassments, and challenge the Usos officially. It was like, we're gonna put this to an end. Let's fight, boys. And you know what? That's actually what we want. That's what we want, don't we? We want. We just want them to fight. We don't want the shenanigans. We just want two of the best tag teams in the world right now to just go after each other. That's what we want. We have Seth Rollins, who's back. He's backstage, and he's talking to that new announcer. I don't remember her name. I don't remember what her name is. But basically, commentary's talking, and you can sort of make out that that Seth is saying words, but unless you're paying attention, you can't really. But if you were paying attention, you would have realized that Seth started the interview by saying, "Yeah, I broke the internet today." I thought that was cute. I thought that was funny. Cute and funny. So, I broke the internet today. That's a quote that Seth Rollins said today, May 13, 2019. Now, in regards to his relationship with Becky Lynch, that has now become official. It's not a rumor anymore, in case you're wondering. What that's all about. What I'm talking about. And good for them. Good for them. And I thought it was interesting, too. I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter, but Rusev tweeted out after the announcement was made. He tweeted out, I wonder if they're going to get in trouble. Because if you recall, Rusev and Lana, years ago, they had posted on either of their Instagram a wedding picture of Rusev and Lana, right? And they got in trouble. Like, I think Rusev was depushed because of it. They were asked to take the pictures down. They got heat. It's crazy. I don't think they're going to get in trouble. But here's the thing. Now I'm just being stupid. I'm just going to talk for talking's sake here. But wouldn't Seth be like, would it be just like standing around being really ginger, standing around all gingerly saying, yeah, I broke the internet today, while his girlfriend got put through a table by two women? Like, wouldn't he be like in the trainer's room? Like, are you okay, baby? Is everything all right? Where the fuck is Lacey Evans? I gotta go talk to that bitch or something, Not just like standing around with it. But I get it. Like, I'm just being stupid because I know, like, it's not kayfabe, it's not storyline that they're in a relationship. The lines are so blurred. I'm just saying. Chris says "depushed" is a good word. Thank you for. Please petition to add "depushed" into the next edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. Maybe the collegiate version. That'd be nice. And Lana did do that within a storyline or something like that. Hang on a second. Wait a minute. Anthony Suter. Look, hang on a second. I did not say Warren thinks men have to go save their women. What I'm saying is that if your loved one gets beaten up, you're going to go check on them. You're going to have some concern. I'm sorry, Anthony, if your sociopathic ways keep you from distinguishing the subtle nuances that people have as far as feelings go. By the way, how's that face fixing coming along? Jesus fucking Christ. All right, so, and then after this, we had our brand new episode of Firefly Funhouse, right? And this was my main event. This is what I was most looking for. And Bray was hiding. You couldn't find him. We were looking around the house. Then all of a sudden, whoop, there we go. Bray was hiding. Was just right there. Was hiding in plain sight. And we see the puppets. Rambling Rabbit is okay. He just needed a Band-Aid. He's fine. Yowie wowie. He's cool. Bray says that he has a secret. He's about to show us what he's been really working on. And he says that he's happy to have all his fireflies with him, and it warms his soul, but there's still a lot of darkness in this noggin. But now he knows how to harness it and control it. And he says, "Do you want to see my secret?" And I'm kind of like, yeah, I think. And we see Bray decked out in some new gear. He's got like some pinstripe pants. And he's got this large, like clown, like deformed mask. There's some twinkle little star going on. This was well produced. It looked fantastic. And right now, Bray has he's changed his Twitter handle. I think now it's like WWE Bray Wyatt Rebirthed or Reborn, something like that. I think we've just come to a full circle here. I don't know how much longer we have with Firefly Funhouse, because I kind of think now that we've got ourselves Bray Wyatt, who's about ready to lead us into a slaughterhouse here. Whoo! Fightbot says Bray Wyatt is the new member of Slipknot. Mr. Fred says Tom Savini was working with Bray. I read about this on a couple of sites. I don't know how true it is. I've heard the rumor anyway. I don't know. I don't know if I haven't heard if it's true. So let's move on to our main event. Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn. Falls count anywhere match. The winner gets a spot at Money in the Bank. So Braun Strowman has a lot to lose. Sami Zayn has everything to gain. And Sami Zayn early on gets beaten up. He gets shouldered down to the mat. He gets avalanched into the corner, gets tossed to the floor. And Sami starts avoiding Braun's offense. In fact, Sami, he just books it. He's like, no, screw this. He starts going up the stairs, cutting through the audience, going up the staircase, trying to get away from Braun. He catches up with him, but Sami he tosses a beer at Braun, all sorts of shit that he can find, trash, just tosses it at Braun, trying to create some separation. They get out onto the concourse and Sammy blindsides Braun with a trash can. Then Braun starts ramming him into a column, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes Baron Corbin, and he attacks Braun with trash cans, multiple. Corbin side slams Braun through a merge table, and then he gets Sammy over, who covers Braun, but only gets 2. They're running back to the ring after we're back from commercial, or at least back into the arena. Sammy then blindsides Braun with a chair shot. Delivers a couple more, and Braun catches the chair and launches Sammy, just tosses him much further away. Tosses him over a barricade. Sammy starts going backstage to avoid Braun, who just rams into him from behind. Sammy flies into a catering table. But then Drew McIntyre arrives, who sets up a chair and DDTs Braun on top of it. Sammy covers him, but again only gets 2. Braun takes Drew out with a cooler, but that was a weak cooler shot. One of the weakest cooler shots I've seen in my 20 odd years of watching wrestling. Not that I've seen all that many, is my point. They go back out to the ramp, they being Sammy and Braun. Braun knocks Sammy down. Braun delivers some ladder shots then, and then he dumps a ladder on Sammy. Then he dumps another ladder on Sammy. Then he dumps another ladder on Sammy. Then he dumps another ladder on Sammy. But then all of a sudden, Baron Corbin is back and he blindsides him again. Drew comes out as well. They start double teaming Braun and they suplex him through a ladder, and the ladder just bends in half. Jesus, Braun gets back up, but he eats a claymore though. That keeps him down. Corbin drags Sammy onto Braun Strowman and gets the win. In fact, everyone all 3 heels contribute to the pin, pushing Braun down so he doesn't kick out. Sami Zayn, ladies and gentlemen, is in the Money in the Bank match. I honestly did not expect that. That's a fun surprise. I'm for that. I'm down with that. I'm going to tell you, wasn't my favorite match of the night. I liked it better than the opening match. But what I liked, this match was all about building. We were building an angle, we were building a story, and it was well done. Because what you had here was Sami Zayn, who clearly wanted to get his spot, who wanted a spot in Money in the Bank, and he recruited Baron and Drew to help him out because it would be to everyone's advantage if Braun Strowman was not involved. And look exactly what happened. This was super well told. It wasn't the greatest match, wasn't a falls count anywhere match to remember, but that wasn't the point here. The point is, sometimes when we talk about nothing matches, throwaway matches that don't build to anything, like the opening match tonight, Roman and Miz versus Lashley and Elias, that didn't contribute anything. This was the complete opposite. This is exactly a match that creates, that adds an element, some storytelling. This was it. I dug it for that. The angle was fantastic, and I especially liked that Baron Corbin tossed Sammy back out to Braun, so that Braun could finish him off, chokeslam him through the commentary table, just to establish that, okay, now we're going into Money in the Bank. It's every man for himself. Like, okay, we got you in, Sammy. Now you're on your own. Here you go. No honor among thieves. I like that. And it's completely in character with Baron Corbin at the same time. I liked it. I thought it was funny. It adds a little level of unpredictability for Money in the Bank. Is Braun going to get involved? Babaruski says the match was so overbooked. See? I didn't feel it was all that overbooked. As much as everything, I felt everything sort of collected and coalesced into a logical story. Plus, it also served for once in a long time, have Braun lose, but without Braun looking weak, and I mean 0 weak at all. Braun looked mega strong throughout the entire match, even in his loss. To me, this was really, really interesting storytelling. Wasn't as overbooked or as clusterfucky as it can happen sometimes. Fightbot says Sammy should get Bobby Lashley's sisters to help him win at Money in the Bank. He said TLC, but I thought you meant Money in the Bank. Kristen Ashley says there were so many guest appearances in this match, I half expected to see myself in it. Mr. Fred says, ladder bends more than my scoliosis spine. My God. But he also says that Sammy might be a dark horse pick. And Carlos says, my pick for Money in the Bank is Almas. So that's interesting. We're already picking matches, picking winners. But if you wanna come talk predictions and share your predictions with your boy Warren, well, I'll be joined by my girl Kristen Ashley this Thursday. We're going to be doing our Money in the Bank predictions show, so be sure to tune in then and there so that we can speculate and decide the fate of all WWE wrestlers involved in that match. That'll be a lot of fun. Be sure to be here right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. And otherwise, come back tomorrow evening for my SmackDown Live recap show. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That also should be a good time. But I do want to thank everyone who joined in the chat this evening once again. That is fantastic. I also want to thank everyone, whether you're watching on demand or listening through your podcast. Thank you very much. It's always appreciated to have all you people around. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. And you know what? I'll see you next time.